Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you are a brand new subscriber or a brand new viewer. My name is Kyle. Today I'm going to be making another complete Blu-ray collection video. For those of you who have been on my channel for a while, I've made quite a few of these, and you guys always seem to enjoy it. So here I am doing it again. By the time this video gets uploaded, I'm going to be on my holiday vacation. I'm very excited. I'm going to be just away from it all for a week. So I hope that this video can definitely help during the time I'm absent. Now with these videos, I obviously have quite a lot of Blu-rays as you can see, and I can't tell a story for each and every one of them because this video will be like 6 hours long. So I'm gonna go through all my films, and I start off numerical and then I go A through Z, just to make sure there's absolutely no confusion. And without further ado, let's get into this. First up, we have 12 Angry Men in its Criterion Collection, one of the best movies ever made. It's also 65 years old this year, and I actually do plan to make a review for it, so stay tuned for that. I have quite a few Criterion Collection movies. I want to collect more over the course of the next few years because they're just amazing. They have amazing commentaries. 12 Angry Men, one of the best. 12 Monkeys. 21 and 22 Jump Street. 21 Jump Street was a big movie when it came out, and it's crazy to think it's already 10 years old, but when this movie came out, everyone at my school was talking about it. It's like if you didn't see it, you weren't cool. So of course I watched it, and I loved it. And I like the second one as well, but the first one is definitely the best. 42, one of my most memorable movie experiences with my dad. Just such a great movie, and Chadwick, may he rest in peace. That's not the first time I will say that in this video, but man, I remember when this came out, I had no idea who he was, and I thought to myself, you know what, this guy is pretty good. I like to see him in more stuff, and look what a career he gave us. So rest in peace to you, sir. 300 in its exclusive Steelbook edition. That's the first and not the last time you'll hear me talk about Steelbooks. Now we're going into the alphabeticals, starting off with A Clockwork Orange. That's a hell of a way to start out. Act of Valor. A dual pack of Air Force One and In the Line of Fire. Air Force One is a movie that I enjoy. It's not like a great movie to me, but it's fun. In the Line of Fire, however, is an excellent, very underrated movie. Not a lot of people talk about it. The Alfred Hitchcock Collection. This includes Rear Window, Vertigo, North by Northwest, Psycho, and The Birds. I do have Psycho on Blu-ray, and we'll see that later on in this collection. But by God, Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense. All of these movies are fantastic, and his career just continues to inspire to this day. Alien. Aliens. And I also have Alien 3. I remember the first time I saw this movie. In fact, I saw the extended cut of the film. I think it's called the assembly cut, and I really enjoyed it. I only saw the theatrical cut once. I wasn't crazy about it, but I like the assembly cut. Another dual pack of American History X and A History of Violence. Both films are mesmerizing. If you haven't seen them, watch them both. American Made, one of the most entertaining movies of 2017 in my opinion. Really enjoyed it. American Sniper, fun fact, this was the first R-rated movie I saw in theaters. American Psycho, I have to return some videotapes. A Nightmare on Elm Street. I finally watched all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies last Halloween. I'm all caught up, finally seen them all. That being said, though, the first one is definitely the best. Annihilation. Apocalypse Now, classic, and of course it's directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Hofstra graduate, here. Apollo 13. Arrival. Arthur Christmas, a really fun, entertaining Christmas movie. I love it. Alright, here comes the big ones. The Avengers. Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers Infinity War. And of course, Avengers Endgame. My God. I remember when all of these movies came out because I saw them all on opening nights, but Avengers Endgame, that's a movie that will just... it'll always be celebrated as one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. I saw with my closest friends, and Man, it makes me miss the year 2019 that much more. Baby Driver, my favorite movie of 2017. The Back to the Future trilogy. These movies will always mean so much to me. They meant so much when I first saw it as a kid, and I believe when I'm 88 years old, pun intended right there, that I will still love these movies. These films just did so much for me. And I talked about the first movie, I think about 2 years ago on the channel, and it was just one of the greatest videos I ever made. Bad Boys 1 and 2. So, I think every Blu-ray collector has their share of guilty pleasures, and here's one of them, Battleship. I know, it's stupid, but I liked it. Alright, 1989's Batman. Batman Returns, and the fun fact I love stating in every collection video is this is the first Blu-ray that I purchased myself. I have the Dark Knight trilogy, all in their exclusive Steelbook editions. And I also have Batman v Superman. I actually was one of the people who liked this movie when it first came out, and although my opinion of it has weakened over the years, there are still parts of it that are great, particularly that warehouse fight scene. Beetlejuice. Big. The Big Lebowski in its exclusive Steelbook edition. The Big Sick, a really fun movie from 2017. Black Hawk Down. Black Panther in its exclusive Steelbook edition, once again to Chadwick Boseman, may he rest in peace. I have Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. I do love the first movie more. I like Blade Runner 2049, but the first movie to me reigns supreme. The Blind Side. Blood Diamond, fantastic movie. Oh my god. The Blues Brothers, one of my favorite just movies, not just comedies, but one of my favorite movies. It blends so many genres, and it's the kind of movie that just would never ever see the light of day today, but I'm glad that it was made back then. I have the Bourne trilogy, Identity, Supremacy, and Ultimatum. One of my all-time favorite movies is Boys in the Hood. I think this is also one of the best movies of all time. I adored making the video I did last year for its 30th year anniversary, and rest in peace to John Singleton, because you, sir, are a legend. Braveheart. The Breakfast Club. Call Me By Your Name. The Captain America trilogy. The Winter Soldier is definitely my favorite, and I still think my number one MCU movie. Captain Phillips. I am the captain now. Carrie, in its exclusive collector's edition. Awesome movie. Directed by Brian De Palma. That's not the last time you'll hear me say that name. Casino, in its exclusive Steelbook edition. Castaway. Catch Me If You Can. Excellent, excellent movie. Charade, a really fun and underrated early 60s movie. Children of Men. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Cloverfield, and of course, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Anybody who has been on my channel since March of 2016 knows that this movie really impacted me when I first saw it, and it continued to for the months onward. Like, honestly, anybody who knew me in school, I would talk about it constantly. I was obsessed, and I still think this is a fantastic movie. I absolutely adore it. Cloverfield 3 does not exist to me. Coco. This movie damaged me so badly, it emotionally wrecked me by the end of it. Collateral. Commando. Oh man, what a fun movie. Dark City. The Day After Tomorrow, one of my childhood favorite movies. I still enjoy it. I know it's a guilty pleasure, but it's fun. Deadpool and Deadpool 2 in its exclusive Steelbook edition. Death Proof. This is a Tarantino movie that a lot of people proclaim, including the man himself, as his worst film. I probably would agree to that, but instead of worst, it's least favorite. However, this movie has such good rewatchability, and Kurt Russell is the man. Demolition Man, extremely underrated movie. I love it. The Departed, or The Departed. Desperado in its exclusive Steelbook edition. The Die Hard quadrilogy. This includes Die Hards 1 through 4. No Die Hard 5 because that movie should not exist. Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, and we'll see The Shining later on in this collection. Dr. Sleep was a movie that I saw back in 2020, and I loved it, but I definitely need to see it again before making a review for it, because I definitely want to talk about it at some point. Don't Breathe. Doctor Strangelove, in its Criterion Collection. One of my professors at my university, Hofstra, has a commentary track on this. You can find him, Dr. Rodney Hill. He is an incredible man, and this movie is just one of Kubrick's best, and it continues to shine nearly 60 years later. Drive. Dunkirk, directed by Christopher Nolan. That's not the last time you'll hear me mention that name. Easy A, one of my favorite high school comedies. And speaking of high school comedies, The Edge of 17. Edward Scissorhands, one of my all-time favorite movies, and I made a video on it about 2 years ago. A lot of fun. Aaron Brockovich, Julia Roberts is great in the movie, and Steven Soderbergh, I think outside of Out of Sight, this is his best movie. Escape from New York, one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies, and once again, Kurt Russell is the man. E.T. The Evil Dead. Fargo, is it one of the best movies of all time? Oh, you betcha. Okay, so now we're going to go into, speaking of guilty pleasures, The Fast and the Furious, my all-time favorite guilty pleasure movie. Too Fast, Too Furious, directly behind it. Fast 5, which I still think is the best one of the franchise. I have Fast 6 and 8 in their steelbooks. I don't have Furious 7, I gotta pick that up. I still haven't seen Fast 9 yet, but rest assured, I will. I know they're stupid, but I love them. The Fifth Element. Now, I can't really talk about this, for obvious reasons, but what I will say is that it's amazing. The Final Destination quadrilogy, the fourth movie does not exist. I would replace this with Final Destination 5 immediately. The first movie, I genuinely really enjoyed. 2 and 3 they're enjoyable, but the first movie I think is honestly pretty good. Forrest Gump, I'm not gonna do a southern accent. From Dusk Till Dawn. The Fugitive, one of the best movies ever made. Full Metal Jacket, incredibly powerful. The Game in its Steelbook edition. Get Out, one of the best movies of 2017. The original Ghostbusters. Ghost in the Shell in its Steelbook edition. The reason I own this movie is because I won it through Rotten Tomatoes. Back in 2017, before the remake with Scarlett Johansson came out, they had a polling and I won. So they gave me this movie and I thought it was great. I'm not a huge anime fan, but I really like this movie. The Gift, one of the best thrillers and one of the best movies of 2015. Glass. The Godfather, now 50 years old this year. Gone Girl, again directed by David Fincher, although the way he did this Blu-ray was interesting because it's not a Criterion, it's not a Steelbook, it's just its own thing. The cops in the movie are stupid. I have to say that. Goodfellas, one of the best movies, period. Good Time, what put the Safdie brothers on the map, and of course their movie Uncut Gems after this was even better. Good Will Hunting. The Grand Budapest Hotel. Gran Torino. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. When this movie first came out, it took the world by storm because nobody expected it to be really honestly that good, but nobody expected it to be as good as it was. So when the second movie came out, expectations were high, and I think this movie has aged particularly well. And whenever Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out, I'm sure I will love it too. Hacksaw Ridge in its Steelbook edition. The Hangover, hilarious, hilarious comedy. The Hateful Eight, not a comedy. Well, kind of. I mean, Tarantino movies usually have comedic stuff in them, but I'd say outside of his first 3 movies, which are the best in my opinion, this one is my favorite. Heat, one of the best movies ever made. Heathers, fun 80s movie, but it's dark at the same time. Hell or High Water. The original Hellboy. The Help. I know this movie is kind of in a controversy right now. I'm not sure if it's still in that window of movies that are controversial. But back when this came out, like everyone that I knew in my family loved it, and I thought it was a very absorbing movie. The performances were excellent, so I can see where some of the controversy lies, but I still love it. Hidden Figures, excellent movie. I have with me the Hobbit trilogy. These movies, I haven't seen them in a while, and I've been told that they were bad, but I liked them when they came out. The last one was kind of like alright, but I definitely liked the first 2. Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. I mean, these 2 movies, what about them has not been said? I mean, they're both... The second one has received criticism, but I definitely still think it's a lot of fun. The first movie is the definition of a holiday classic. Horrible Bosses. I think this movie is hilarious. Speaking of hilarious movies, Hot Fuzz is one of the funniest movies ever made. It is Edgar Wright's, I'd say it's directly beneath Baby Driver as my favorite movie of his. I just love it. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. The Hunt for Red October. Hunger Games Catching Fire. This is the only one I have on Blu-ray. The first movie I have on DVD. I didn't really care for the last 2. Inception, another movie by Christopher Nolan, and an outstanding movie, of course. The Incredibles, one of my childhood favorites, of course, and Incredibles 2. Independence Day. The Indiana Jones quadrilogy. I know a lot of people have criticisms towards Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but I saw it when I was a kid, and I liked it. Although I do understand some of the criticisms, it's still a really fun movie to me. But the original 3, I mean, those movies are as close to perfect as you're going to get. Inglourious Basterds, another movie by Tarantino. Insomnia. Underrated movie by Christopher Nolan. It's not my all-time favorite, but I definitely think it's really good. Interstellar, another movie by Christopher Nolan. In Time. This is another one of those guilty pleasure movies because when I saw it when I was younger, I really liked it. Although I haven't seen it in quite a few years, so I might not like it as much as I'm remembering, but we'll see. The Invisible Man remake. In my opinion, this is one of the best remakes of all time because it doesn't meddle with the original. It feels like it's its own thing, and Leigh Whannell directed the hell out of a really good thriller. The Iron Giant. It Follows. Jaws in its exclusive Digibook edition, which is just awesome. And the movie has the original mono sound from the 70s, which I love. I wish more classic films had mono sound because I like hearing how they originally sounded. John Wick, I gotta get 2 and 3. Joker. At the time, it was my favorite movie of 2019, and 2019, you really missed that year. A year when the biggest thing going on in the world is that people believe that anyone who saw this was gonna go crazy and start killing people. It gets stupider every year we're removed from 2019. Joyride, a fantastically underrated movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I caught it one day on TV, literally. I feel like I'm the last generation that can say that, but I was scrolling through the channels and I saw this movie and I clicked on it. I watched the whole thing and I fell in love with it. Jurassic Park, Kill Bill Volume 1, and Kill Bill Volume 2. I actually like the first movie more. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I think the pacing of this movie is better. King Kong, Peter Jackson's edition, which is my favorite of the three versions. This is one of the earliest movies that I remember seeing. I didn't see it in theaters, but I think I was maybe 7 when it came on TV, and I loved it. It was the kind of movie that, it was PG-13, so it was kind of cool to watch it when you were that young, and it's a movie that I'll always remember. Kingsman: The Secret Service, and I also have Kingsman: The Golden Circle. I'm of the unpopular opinion that I like The Golden Circle. It's not as good as the first movie, but I definitely find it an enjoyable sequel. La La Land in its Steelbook edition. When I first saw this movie at the IMAX, I was over the moon, as was the entire audience. I saw it again, and I wasn't as crazy about it the second time, but the performances were still solid, and Damien Chazelle's direction was great. LA Confidential. La Femme Nikita, one of my favorite foreign films. The Last of the Mohicans. The Last Samurai. Léon the Professional. Jean Reno is an amazing actor, as well as Gary Oldman, and of course the wonderful Natalie Portman. This movie is just badass, and it's awesome. The Lethal Weapon Quadrilogy. Limitless. Lincoln. Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow. I always remember the movie as Edge of Tomorrow. I don't know why they titled the movie Live, Die, Repeat, so I have to put it in the L's section. But Edge of Tomorrow is that movie where I misjudged the trailer. I thought it was going to be a dumb movie, and it turned out to be one of the smartest movies I had seen in years. So it made me rethink how I viewed trailers. Logan. Looper, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, these three movies are badass, and I think they will always be badass. The Mad Max trilogy alongside Mad Max Fury Road, I mean, just amazing. The Magnificent Seven remake. Magnolia, I think this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Man of Steel. The Martian, my favorite movie of 2015. I own 2 copies of The Matrix. The Steelbook was given to me by a friend, thank you very much, of course, and I have the Digibook edition. The Matrix is one of those movies that's so iconic, and everybody remembers the first time they saw that movie. Of course I do. I was only 10 years old, and my God, just what a breathtaking film. Memento, one of the best films ever made. Men in Black 3. This is interesting because my feelings on the franchise have been very unpopular. I was never crazy about any of them, but Men in Black 3 to me was the most fun I had. Minority Report starring Tom Cruise, and speaking of Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 1, MI2, MI3, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Mission Impossible Fallout, and whenever 7 and 8 come out, I'm sure I will get those on Blu-ray as well. Those movies, they just keep getting higher and higher, so I'm excited to see whatever they do next. Molly's Game, a very underrated movie from 2017. Not a lot of people talk about it, and I think they should. Moonlight, the Best Picture winner of 2016. Mrs. Doubtfire, a movie to always put me in a good mood. Sadly, Robin Williams is no longer with us. Rest in peace to you, sir, but you have left us some fun movies, and this is definitely one of them. The Mummy in its Steelbook edition. I love the 99 version of this movie. I do. I really don't care what anybody says. I think it's excellent. A triple pack featuring Natural Born Killers, Any Given Sunday, and JFK. The Nice Guys, a very, very overlooked movie that more people are discovering since it left theaters abruptly, but I was one of the few who saw it when it came out, and I loved it. No Country for Old Men scared the living shit out of me when I first saw it. And it's an excellent movie. Fantastic film. It's now 15 years old, and I would like to talk about it this year. Nonstop. Oblivion. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino's latest film. The Patriot. Patriots Day. And Patriot Games in its Steelbook edition. My favorite Jack Ryan movie. It's now 30 years old, so I might make a review for it. The original Pirates of the Caribbean, the best one by far. The original Planet of the Apes, we'll be talking about some other Planet of the Apes movies in a minute. Platoon. Polar Express, the first movie I saw in theaters. Poltergeist, now 40 years old this year, might be a review for it. Predator, 35 years old this year, you bet your asses I'm going to be talking about it. I'm very excited to bring the review, and I plan to drop it on the date it was released 35 years prior. So look forward to that, because I can't wait to talk about this one. The Prestige, another great movie directed by Christopher Nolan. The Princess Bride. Prisoners scared the hell out of me when I first saw it. Prometheus. Like I said before with Alfred Hitchcock, I do have Psycho separately on Blu-ray. It's just a must-own on Blu-ray. Pulp Fiction, one of the best movies of all time, one of the most endlessly rewatchable and effortlessly quotable movies ever made. Raging Bull. Real Steel. This movie I loved when it came out. I saw it twice in theaters, as a matter of fact. And it never got a sequel because I don't think it made enough money, which is unfortunate because I thought they did a really good job with this film. Reservoir Dogs, Tarantino's first movie. I want to talk about all of Tarantino's movies in the future. Definitely when he's announcing what his 10th movie is going to be. That's when I really want to jump on it. So I promise you I will talk about all of Tarantino's films. The Revenant, a breathtaking movie theater experience. I never saw more people walk out of a single movie than this one. Hilariously, but man, I stuck through it all, and I'm so glad I did. Speaking of Planet of the Apes, I have Rise, Dawn, and War. RoboCop. Just like with Predator, this movie is officially 35 years old, and as such, this is definitely a movie I am going to talk about. I have to review this film because it's amazing. Robots, one of my childhood favorite movies, and I still love it to this day. The Rock, Michael Bay's best movie. Rocket Man, a very fun theater experience, and again, it makes me miss 2019. The original Rocky, I need to get the sequels, not Rocky 5, but I have to get the other sequels because they're amazing, but the original film is just a shining example of hope, and Sylvester Stallone, he just embodied that character. The Rush Hour Trilogy, 3 of the most fun movies ever. Safe House. Haven't seen this one in a while. I liked it when I was younger, but might not hold up as well. We'll have to see. The Sandlot. Now, this movie sure as hell holds up. So much fun. Saving Private Ryan. I can't say this movie's fun, but it is an amazing, absorbing war film. Scarface in its exclusive Steelbook edition. I mean, what about this movie hasn't been said? It is definitely one of De Palma's best, and Al Pacino is incredible in the film. It is such an amazingly brisk directed film, and it just has so much rewatchability. Scott Pilgrim, another Edgar Wright film, really good. The School of Rock. This is the definition of a feel-good movie to me. It just always brightens me whenever I see it, and it's so sad the actor who played Freddie Jones passed away. Just very tragic. So rest in peace to him, but my God, this movie is awesome. A triple pack featuring The Searchers, The Wild Bunch, and How the West Was Won, 3 excellent westerns. The original Scream. I haven't seen the new one yet, but I will very soon. I was never crazy about any of the sequels, to be honest, but this movie is excellent to me. This is another triple pack featuring Seven, Insomnia, and The Devil's Advocate. I enjoy The Devil's Advocate. You guys know my thoughts on Insomnia. Seven is in my top 5 movies of all time. I wish I had just Seven so I could kind of gush about it for a minute, but Seven to me is a perfect movie. Like, I don't think anything about it needs to change. It is just, it's marvelous. Like, it's the kind of movie that makes me sit back and go, holy shit, movies can actually be this remarkable. Like, it is that good to me. The Shape of Water, the Best Picture winner of 2017. I really like this movie. I know some people weren't really crazy about it, but I thought it was great. Another one of the best comedies, Shaun of the Dead, directed by Edgar Wright. This was his first feature film after A Fistful of Fingers. But my God, this movie is just so good, so rewatchable, and it's Steelbook edition. You just have to have it. The Shawshank Redemption, one of the best movies ever made, of course. The Shining, another one of the best movies of all time. I mean, this movie is like the gift that keeps on giving because we're still asking questions more than 40 years after it's come out. It's crazy, but by God, this is one of the best. A double pack featuring Shutter Island and The Aviator. I love Shutter Island. I like The Aviator, but Shutter Island is one of Scorsese's most underrated films. Sicario. Signs. The Silence of the Lambs. The Sixth Sense. Snowpiercer, very, very awesome movie. I still can't believe that they managed to make a movie on a train and just make it entertaining, but they did it. The Social Network. Again, David Fincher and his Blu-rays. He just does something really cool with them. But man, this movie's pacing is just, it's godlike to me. The Sorcerer's Apprentice, a childhood favorite movie of mine, and I think if I saw it again, because I haven't seen it in a while, I think if I saw it again, I wouldn't think it was as good, but I still think I'd get a kick out of it. Source Code, a brilliant, brilliant movie, and I think to this point, it has the most views of any video on my channel. I think it has about 22,000, which is awesome. The director of the film, Duncan Jones, as well as the lead actress, Michelle Monaghan, both saw and liked the video. Just amazing. It was awesome to get that kind of recognition, but man, this movie is excellent. Spaceballs, my favorite comedy. The original Spider-Man trilogy, my childhood, my absolute childhood lies in these 3 movies. Yes, including Spider-Man 3. It was the first Spider-Man movie I saw in theaters, so I will always remember it. But man, the first 2 movies are absolute gold classics. Spider-Man Homecoming. And I also have Spider-Man Far From Home. I recently got this movie. And of course, when No Way Home comes out, I will get it. Anybody who loves the character of Spider-Man, how could you not love that movie? Split. This is what won everybody over back to the side of M. Night Shyamalan. Spotlight. This movie messed me up really bad when I saw it. It messed me up. Spy. This is one of those movies I didn't think I was going to like, but I really did. Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. My folks are big Star Trek fans, and this was the first movie that I saw on Blu-ray, so I'll always have that kind of nostalgia, but I'm not a crazy Star Trek fan because I root for the other team. Star Wars. I mean, if you see the posters behind me, or if you know me personally, Star Wars is what got me into wanting to be a filmmaker as a 7-year-old kid. 15 and a half years later, that dream has not died down. But yes, the original saga of Star Wars, especially the original trilogy. The prequels I grew up with, and although there definitely are problems with those movies, I do believe they have consistency. Now, I do have The Force Awakens and I have The Last Jedi in its steelbook. I do not want to get The Rise of Skywalker. In fact, due to the fact that The Rise of Skywalker exists, it made me very disappointed to be a big fan of the new movies because I really liked the first 2. And the third movie made me like these movies way less, which is just sad. However, I do have Rogue One, and I think this one is great. a Steven Spielberg collection. I got this as a gift. It includes Duel, Sugarland Express. Of course, I have a few of these movies, but Jaws, 1941, E.T., Always, Jurassic Park, and The Lost World. I think the movies I don't own are my least favorites of his, but I'm glad I have this collection because even when Spielberg makes a movie that's not great, it has moments of greatness in them. Straight Outta Compton, one of the best movies of 2015. Talladega Nights. This is a guilty pleasure for sure, but it is one of those movies that has such insane rewatchability to me. I think it's hilarious. Shake and bake. Taken. The movie that proved to all of us that a mid-50s man can still be a badass. It inspired a plethora of movies in which older or old guys got to kick ass, but this is the movie that really kicked it off. And Liam Neeson is a great actor from the past, but definitely in this age, he's still making action movies because of this one. Taxi Driver, classic. The Terminator, one of the best movies of all time, in my top 10 for sure. But my number one movie of all time is still Terminator 2 Judgment Day in its exclusive Steelbook edition. I saw it again last July, and oh man, this movie is just perfect. And my review I made for it was a bit of a long one, but it was completely necessary because I got to talk about everything I wanted to discuss. I also have Terminator 3. Yeah. The Adventures of Tintin. Another Criterion Collection movie, The Thin Red Line, an outstanding, outstanding film. John Carpenter's The Thing. It's now 40 years old, and you bet I'll be talking about this. I have quite a few things to say in that review. It'll be coming in June to mark its 40th year anniversary. Stay tuned for it. I own Thor: The Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok. I could care less about The Dark World, to be honest with you, but Ragnarok, this movie, I thought was awesome. It completely made me just like Thor in a different light. I enjoy the fact that they made him more of a comedic character. I wasn't a big fan of him taking himself very seriously, so I like the comedic tone of it. And plus, it has Tessa Thompson, and anyone who knows me personally or has seen any review I've made where, she's in the movie knows that I really like her. Titanic, oh man, 25 years, and this December I definitely want to make a special video for it. Top Gun. Total Recall, one of my all-time favorite movies. Trading Places, a hilarious comedy. Training Day, an excellent, excellent movie. Denzel is amazing. He's amazing usually in every movie, but he's just amazing in this. Unbroken in its Steelbook edition. Unbreakable. I think this movie gets better every year. I think it gets better for me every time I see it, and that is like an absolute rarity of rarities, but man, I love Unbreakable. Unforgiven. Unknown. I actually really like this movie. It's underrated to me. I know some people weren't crazy about it, but I liked it. The Untouchables, one of the best movies of all time. Jordan Peele's Us. I wasn't as in love with this movie as Get Out, but I do want to revisit it before Nope comes out. The Usual Suspects. War Games. This movie was given to me by my friend Eric. Thanks, man. Love it. West Side Story, my favorite musical. Whiplash. Not only one of the best movies of 2014, but one of the best movies of the 2010s. The Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, man. The World's End. My personal favorite of the Cornetto trilogy. This was just one of the biggest movies ever for me when I first saw it back in 2013. I have loved it ever since, and I was obsessed. Like with 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was obsessed with this movie for quite a long time. But it's an excellent, excellent movie, and I really feel like people are too harsh on it because I've seen a lot of unfavorable reviews for the movie, and I just don't understand it. Wonder Woman. World War Z. I have a couple of X-Men movies. X-Men 2, which is my favorite of all of them. X-Men First Class, really good movie. The Wolverine, also I think a really good movie. The ending, it's kind of okay, but I think everything up until that point was really good. And I have X-Men Apocalypse in its Steelbook edition. I really liked it. I was one of the people who really liked this movie in theaters. My thoughts on it have kind of softened over the years, but I still think there are some great moments, including the Quicksilver scene. Zathura and Zootopia. Okay, I have one last thing to show. And the last thing to show is the official James Bond Blu-ray collection. I mean, this thing is just a thing of beauty. 50 years of Bond 007 in this collection. It is one of my prized possessions. I just absolutely love it. And alongside that, I have 3 of Daniel Craig's movies on Blu-ray. Skyfall, which I love. Spectre, which I do not love, but I have the Blu-ray because I just have to collect it. And No Time to Die, the most recent Bond film, and definitely one of the best experiences of 2021, just period, because we were finally able to go out and go to the theater again, and seeing this with my dad, you know, who I've seen the previous 2 Craig movies with, and basically all the others because he's been a lifelong James Bond fan, you know, it makes these movies special to me. And I always appreciate going with him to see these. And James Bond just means so much to me and always will. I'm not sure where they're going to go with the franchise after this movie, but wherever they go, I think it'll be an interesting decision. Well, there you guys have it. Another complete Blu-ray collection video, this time for the year 2022. I didn't make one last year. I think the last one I did was in June of 2020, I think. But I'm glad I gave you guys another video, hopefully something to keep you guys excited while I'm on vacation. When I come back, I want to talk about the movie X, and we'll see where I go from there. I think I'm going to make a couple of in-depth analysis reviews as the year keeps going because I'm trying to do different things with my life right now, so I might not be around to make just regular movie reviews. I might have to make videos while I'm working, so we'll see. But anyways, guys, I appreciate the support as always. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like. All the links to my social media pages can be found in the description box below. My new website, kggpictures.com, don't forget to follow that. And my business email, they are all in the description box below. Please check them out. Thank you all so much as always for watching, and stay tuned.